tuning into Halton News right here on your TV. It's Monday, September 22nd, and I'm Jessica Kading. Ontario has seen a spike in COVID-19 numbers recently, with the largest increases being in Toronto, Ottawa, and Peel region. But Halton has seen a much larger jump this weekend than we've been used to lately, with 58 new cases have been reported over Saturday and Sunday, the vast majority of which were reported in the town of Oakville. Oakville has the greatest number of active cases in Halton by far, leading the pack with 83 currently active cases, more than half of which were reported over the weekend. Burlington now has 11 active cases, Milton 21, and Halton Hills has 9. There is currently only one case in Halton severe enough to be treated in hospital, and that patient is in Oakville, Trafalgar. A few of those new cases that were reported have been in students attending school. In Oakville, Sunningdale Public School has reported 2 new cases this morning. Those who were in high-risk, close contact with the affected individuals have been notified by public health to stay home and self-isolate. The school has been disinfected. There was also a case reported in a student at Maple Grove Public School in Oakville, but he did not have any contact with students at the school. And a 4th new Oakville school case was reported in St. Anthony of Padua Elementary. In Milton, a case was reported at St. Francis Xavier Secondary School yesterday, and the school cases we reported last week have yet to resolve, so there are currently 10 cases in Halton schools. There was a shooting in Oakville last night. Nikki Wesley is standing by with those details. Nikki?
Thanks, Jess. I'm here at the corner of 6th Line and Elm Road in Oakville, where last night Halton Regional Police were called to a shooting around 10 p.m. A man, 53, was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. There are currently no suspects, and the investigation is ongoing. However, police do not believe this was a random act and no cause for concern for neighbors. They are looking for footage, any dash cam footage or CCTV footage that folks around this neighborhood may have around 10 p.m. last night. If you have any information, please contact Halton Police or call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. And with that, I'll throw it back to you in the studio, Jess.
A 59-year-old Burlington resident and business owner died in a tragic incident over the weekend. It was at Toronto Motorsports Park where Richard Annest was struck by a vehicle on the racetrack. He suffered serious injuries, which he ultimately succumbed to, leaving behind his wife and 3 children. Annest was a devoted family man who was also the owner of Mr. Transmission in Burlington. On Saturday, Premier Doug Ford announced increased restrictions on both indoor and outdoor private gatherings. The maximum number of people allowed to attend private indoor events has been reduced from 50 to 10, and outdoor private gatherings are now maxed out at 25, down from 50 all across Ontario. The penalty for non-compliance is steep. An organizer of an event larger than those outlined is subject to a minimum fine of $10,000 and attendees $750 each. It's important to point out that gatherings cannot combine 10 people indoors and 25 more people outdoors. You must choose one or the other to qualify as following the mandated guidelines. Those new restrictions only apply to private gatherings and do not apply to gatherings held in staffed businesses and facilities such as bars, restaurants, theaters, banquet halls, gyms, or recreational centers. And as we prepare for a possible second wave, concern for our seniors comes top of mind as they were the hardest hit at the beginning of the pandemic. After a funding announcement for seniors programs in Milton, we asked Milton MP Adam Van Couverden his thoughts on the potential second wave and how we can better protect seniors this time around.
Unfortunately, one of the things that this pandemic has done is demonstrated to Canadians across from coast to coast to coast that some of the more vulnerable people in our community are some of the more aged, and the situations in a lot of the long-term care facilities expose that reality. So we have an obligation now to get to work and to make sure that doesn't happen again in the future. You're right. If the numbers continue to go up, then we've got to ensure, as Milton has. I just want to make mention of the fact that Allendale and the other seniors care facilities in Milton have done just an incredible job keeping people safe. Really, really remarkable, actually. They were quick and they were innovative and they were compassionate and kind, and they did their work so well. And I just want to thank them and commend them for all of that good work and determination, because it wasn't easy. There was, I was at Allendale one day just walking around the outside, and what they did that day is they brought horses from Lawton stables to walk around the building a couple times just to put smiles on people's faces. Like a horse carriage showed up and 3 horses and a pony got out of this carriage and walked around the building in the summer, and all the folks were waving at the horses. It's the little things. It is really the little things that make a difference for people, and it's the ideas that you guys have in how to put smiles on faces and keep people safe. So I'm confident in our provincial, our regional, our federal, and our municipal government to make the right choices as we get through this thing together.
Halton police are advising the public that there has been an increase in bicycle thefts in the city of Burlington over the past few months, and they'd like to remind you to ensure that your bicycles are locked up when you leave them unattended. They suggest using a bike rack with at least 2 points of contact in order to lock the frame and the wheels. Consider removing a tire or seat to discourage those would-be thieves, and consider a second lock. U-locks are better choice over cable locks, they say. They also advise that you record your serial number and take a photo of your bike to provide to police if required. The Burlington GO stations, shopping centers, and plazas seem to be those specifically targeted by those bike thieves. You are asked to report suspicious activity to police immediately using the non-emergency line at 905-825-4747. On the next episode of The Issue, Mark Carr and Deb Timster are joined by Halton District School Board Superintendent Colleen Ruddick and 2 student school board trustees to examine how the return to school has panned out so far. The idea of masks and distancing among our youngest students has been a controversial one, and in this preview, Mark asks how distancing is actually practiced in the classroom.
Another issue that I have heard is important to parents and teachers and students is the separation. How do you keep kindergarten class separated, and doesn't that affect their education if they are separated?
Yeah, so a kindergarten is a little bit different than our grade 1 to 8 model in that we aren't emphasizing physical distancing to the same extent as we are with our older students. In kindergarten, what we've asked our teachers to do is to create bubbles. So a concept that we are certainly familiar with in our social lives. So a kindergarten table would have 4 or 5 students at it, and the teacher treats that like a bubble, and those students spend their day learning together. They can share materials. They can travel to a learning center together. Because we know that for kids, our youngest kids, they really do need an emotional connection as well as that learning connection. And then their table groups are distanced from other tables, so from other bubbles. So we've got, I think, a little bit of a balance in terms of distancing in the class, but having a good human connection at the table.
To watch the complete discussion on the issue, tune in tomorrow, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Yesterday, Canadians of all ages in different cities, towns, and countrysides took to their neighborhood streets and ran, rolled, walked, or hiked, all in the name of Terry Fox and the dream of a world free of cancer. The Cogeco team was out in full force participating in the virtual Terry Fox run yesterday, with over 70 employees and their families all participating. Together, Team Cogeco raised $6,656 to fight cancer. Halton Women's Place wants you to join them in the week ahead to their push to end violence against women, and that's in Hope for High Heels. 2 Milton leaders have done just that by switching their flats for a pair of high heels. Melissa Candelaria has that one.
It's another day at the office with a pink twist. Milton Regional Councillor Mike Cluett and MP Adam Van Couverden start their day Monday with a meeting to talk about town issues, all while wearing pink heels, pink masks, and in Councillor Cluett's case, a pink beard. And they do it to officially kick off the Halton Women's Place Hope in High Heels campaign. This year it has gone virtual, with residents encouraged to support the fight to end violence against women in their own neighborhoods. For Councillor Cluett, he says it's the least he can do.
I'm walking for all the women that have to use this shelter and the children, but most specifically, I have a 12-year-old daughter, which I want to hope that down the road she doesn't have to face this. She doesn't have to face violence, verbal abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional. I hope that men around this country and around this town, and it all starts here, and it all starts with our youth as well, get the message out that we're part of the solution to end violence against women and end domestic violence.
Down at Dairy.
And off they went, walking along Main Street in Milton to show off their high heel walking skills. It was a slow and steady walk, but Vancouverden says it's such a worthy cause.
Well, I actually don't mind being in high heels. I just wanted to feature my very cool Hope in High Heels mask. I don't mind being in high heels, but it is a little bit challenging to walk, and it's sort of a humbling experience. But I think it's really important that men not only just take responsibility for our actions, but also stand up for important causes. Halton Women Place does such incredible work, such important work in our community, and it really is up to men and every member of our community to stand up and raise a little bit of money, raise some awareness, talk about these issues, and be a force of good.
Not only that, Vancouverden says it's important now more than ever to support the women in our community.
COVID-19 has definitely impacted women more than any other cohort. Definitely, the demands on parenting, not to suggest that men, dads aren't parenting and aren't affected, but women's unemployment has gone up more than men's unemployment. And part of that is because of the demands of the home, with respect to childcare, keeping kids home and everything. So it's really important to recognize the impact that this is having on everybody. So our government is really, really proud through various programs to be investing in shelters and in different community serving programs like Halton Women's Place. It's so important that we continue to recognize the value and the critical nature of the work that Halton Women's Place does. It's an easy cause to support because they're wonderful people, and it's just incredible work. So I'm very, very proud to be supporting it with lots of good friends here in Milton.
This was just the beginning for Councillor Cluett, as he plans to do more throughout the week to promote hope in high heels.
Myself, we have Raheem the Dream, as well, one of our local youth here in Milton. He's walking for his second year, second year, and he's raising money, and I think he's going to match the pink too with his hair. So we'll see how we'll be walking with him on Wednesday.
So you have the opportunity to join MP Vancouverden and Councillor Mike Cluett all week this week to support Hope in High Heels. All you have to do is go to the Halton Women's Place website to register or even to donate. And you know what? If you don't have a pair of heels, wear pink. Reporting for Halton News, I'm Melissa Candelaria.
Thanks for being with us here on Halton News. We do need to take a short break, but for those concerned that climate issues have been pushed aside during the pandemic, our next story is for you. We'll be right back. Looking back to this same time last year, you may recall that there were weekly climate strikes in front of Burlington City Hall. Community members were taking part in a worldwide movement inspired by Swedish student Greta Thunberg. There will be another protest this Friday, but it will look a little different. Let's take a look.
In an effort to bring the climate crisis back into the forefront of people's minds during the pandemic, the group Fridays for Future is coordinating climate strikes throughout Canada. This Friday, locally, there will be a strike at Burlington Civic Square. Because of social distancing, people who want to take part will be represented by their shoes. If you'd like to participate, you can drop your shoes off starting tomorrow until Thursday at Rolling Horse Community Cycle on Plains Road. Or you can bring them yourself between 10 and noon on Friday morning. Shoes will be on display from noon until 2, after which participants can pick up their shoes if they have indicated they wish to do so, or they can choose to leave them, and they will be donated to the Compassion Society.
Oakville residents are encouraged to participate in the Burlington demonstration as the Oakville protest that was going to take place in Centennial Square has been canceled. Taking a look now to our local weather forecast, the first day of fall is almost upon us. So we have been seeing those temperatures cool a bit. 23 degrees as our high for Tuesday, comes with a mix of sun and cloud. Wednesday is our warmest of the week without a cloud in the sky, 25 degrees as our high, but the whole 5-day outlook looks rather lovely. Mix of sun and clouds Thursday, full sun Friday, Saturday, 21 degrees as our high. Minimum wage rates in Ontario will increase on October 1st. Under the Making Ontario Open for Business Act, this increase is tied to the Ontario Consumer Price Index for 2020. The increase to the general minimum wage will be 25 cents, which will bring the new rate to $14.25 an hour. The nominations for the 2020 Excellence in Business Awards put on by the Halton Hills Chamber of Commerce close tonight. This year, they're looking to celebrate businesses and people that have demonstrated resilience and adaptivity in the face of this COVID-19 pandemic. The 5 categories are Business of the Year, 10+ employees, Business of the Year, less than 10 employees, Association of the Year, not-for-profit, Community Excellent, for-profit, and Business Citizen of the Year. They say it only takes 2 minutes to nominate yourself or another deserving business on haltonhillschamber.on.ca. Finalists all will be announced, and the virtual awards will be on October 21st. The Oakville Chamber of Commerce is also collecting nominations for their Stronger Together Resiliency Awards. Nominations will be accepted until this Friday at noon. They're looking for you to nominate a small business that has shown innovation, compassion, and determination during the COVID-19 lockdown and reopening. To do so, please visit burlingtonchamber.ca. The Oakville Chamber of Commerce also invites you to join them for their Season 2 of their Conversation series. This Thursday in the Season 2 premiere, you can join Chair of the Board Tim Cadigan for his conversation about the Canadian economy with Derek Burleton, Vice President and Deputy Chief Economist of TD Bank Group. You can watch that live this Thursday on the Chamber's Facebook page or tune in here on your TV when we broadcast it this Friday, September 25th at 8 p.m. Here's a sneak peek.
I read an article recently about people that have been working from home since March now realize maybe they can work from home 3 days a week and commute too. Therefore, there's no reason for them not to live out in Oakville, Burlington, Hamilton that way. So there's a shift almost in where people want to live or feel they need to live based on their working situation.
And I think you touched on a very important driver. This is another driver, I think, that among a longer list of drivers has been providing some of that underlying support to home prices. We tend to look at an average price. And I think with COVID, the big drive to sort of ground-based dwellings, single detached, a lot of it in the outlying areas, including Oakville and even beyond. Some of the strongest markets are outside of the Toronto area in Ontario. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I think some of this shift is driving activity. The downtown condo market in Toronto is not faring nearly as well. It's not struggling, but it's going to face some headwinds going forward, as particularly as we enter the fourth quarter, and some of the mortgage deferrals that were granted, the 6-month deferrals, they expire. Some investors may be forced to list condos, a lot of them held by investors. But the single and semi-detached market, I see only limited slowing going forward. I think it's just a market that's not going to continue to grow at the same pace it has. But so there's a real dichotomy there. I think we'll have some staying power. Eventually, I'll see some settling down. I don't think the shift to suburbanization is going to continue to go, indefinitely. You'll get a bit of a slowing down, but there is a bit of a lasting impact from COVID, I think, that will drive some of these trends going forward.
And now a look to how some of Halton's top companies performed on the markets today. Stay with us. We'll be back with a look to what's happening in Halton this week. Welcome back to Halton News. I'm Jessica Kading, and the Tim Hortons Smile Cookie Campaign week wrapped up. The executive director of the Burlington Food Bank, Robin Bailey, is grateful for everyone who participated and joins with a local franchisee in this clip to share his gratitude.
I'm here with Robin Evans, who's an owner of Tim Hortons here in Burlington, as well as his son Sebastian, who's one of the managers, as well as Ken Plata. Ken is one of our longtime volunteers. And Ken, we just wanted to thank Tim Hortons.
Yes, I would. I'd like to thank Robin and all the other Tim Horton restaurants who have helped us with the Smile Cookie campaign, and the community, which came out to support us, because we really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome. It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure to do this. We've been helping out the food bank almost since we've been running Smile Cookie here in Burlington. It's an honor to be helping out such a great cause. And this year, I think, is especially different. I mean, I've been a franchisee over 20 years, in this business 35 years, and the strongest year I've seen for Smile Cookie so far has been this year. And I think it's a testament to the goodwill from our guests with how this year has been and the tough times, because as we normally be dwindling out around now, in the week we're as strong as we were at the start of the week on cookie sales, and even stronger than we've been in past years. And I think that's a great testament to our guests, the support for this cause, and just the goodwill out there in the world today. So I'm happy to be part of it, glad that Tim Hortons can be part of this, and happy that we can do our part. So thank you.
Thanks again, Robin, and to all the Tim Hortons owners.
Great, thank you.
And now let's take a look to some upcoming events. Savis of Halton is hosting a live Zoom event tomorrow night for Take Back the Night Halton 2020. You're invited to join for an evening of solidarity and to hear from survivors and allies in the community who want to see an end to gender-based violence. There will be a candlelit vigil and a few moments of silence. For those who want to join in this virtual Zoom event, please do so by visiting savisofhalton.org for the link to connect. We will be airing a recording of this event right here on your TV on a future date as well. The Townsend Smith Hospice Foundation provides palliative care for residents of Milton and Halton Hills. It serves the needs of terminally ill people and their families. As a registered charity, they need your support to offer the care they provide. They're hosting their first virtual hike for hospice later this month. The funds raised will be used to build the first hospice in North Halton. The event date is this Saturday, September 26th at 10 a.m. You're invited to hike, walk, bike, or run wherever you like. To register, please visit townsendsmith.ca. Joseph Brand Hospital's antique and collectible auction will be online this year. The online auction will be held over several days, starting this Saturday, September 26th. Winning bidders will need to pick up their items on the pickup day, which is Wednesday, September 30th, between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. at the Holiday Inn Hotel and Conference Center. For more information, including a one-day in-person viewing of the lots, please visit jbhauctions.com. And last but not least, we're excited to announce our fall lineup right here on your TV. Check out all that we have in store for you this season by watching our launch show tonight, premiering at 7:30 and repeating at 9:30. I'd like to also take this opportunity to thank you for watching us here on Halton News, right here on your TV. We'll be back with another live edition tomorrow night at 5:30. Until then, I invite you to connect with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Your TV Halton. You can also connect with us via email at haltonnews@cogeco.com. Please do feel free to send us any comments, questions, or story ideas. And if you'd like to see more content, please visit us online at yourtv.tv. For Halton News, I'm Jessica Kading.